she lived a long time ago. My dad was a Vulcan, a diplomat. They say I got a lot of brothers, different mothers. That's what I know. That's what I know. That's what I know. He took the time machine, left me away sometime. Visit the planets. My son, he's doing fine.
Lex, I command you to speed up. I command you to go as fast as you can away from that planet that we just came from, that we never want to go back to. Lex, can you hear me?
Could you repeat that, please? I did not hear all of it.
I command you to speed up. I command you to go as fast as you can. Did you hear that?
Yes.
So?
Could you please repeat the command? I forget what you said.
Lex, I command you to go at full speed. Lex, are you going at full speed?
No, Captain, I am not.
Why?
Because I am very, very tired and do not have the energy to do so.
Who's your favorite character in that whole, you know? I love Daffy Duck. I don't know why. He's just like he's a stupid outlaw. Is what he is, you know. Like the episode, he dresses up as he sees as a big prize to become the best rooster, the best chicken, and puts on the rubber gloves and as it goes to the fair. You know, he wins first prize, and of course, what's his name, Henry Chickenhawk, whatever his name, comes and gets him, and there's a big fight inside. And you see the outside of the door, a little hole in the door. The beak comes to the door, says, "Mother." Then there's more crashing and banging and banging and crashing. I distinctly said, "Mother."
Actually, my favorite was always when it was Bugs and Daffy.
Yeah, yeah.
And the famous one I remember is when it's Elmer Fudd is hunting, and they're saying rabbit seed, duck seed.
Oh, yeah. And
then his bill gets shot around to the back of his head.
Yeah. Yeah, it happens a lot, poor old Daffy, yeah. My favorite of that whole thing, the frog.
Oh, yes.
Hello, my baby. I think that's just one of the greatest cartoons ever.
And that's actually now the signature character or the logo for the WB network is that singing frog.
Is it really? So it should be. It's a fantastic cartoon. Little moral tale, good cartoon, funny stuff, all in one. And no dialogue, except for the singing frog.
I could almost be like a little bit of a moral tale, a lot of funny stuff in there, too.
An immoral tale, maybe. Don't try this in space. Don't try this in your own space, If you must ride a spaceship,
I think what I noticed this year, more than any other year, is when the three of you are together, there's really, I think more than ever, I think there's really something special that I saw at the time you were all together. The give and take in the scenes, Seb is one way, Kai is one way, and Stanley, of course, is Stanley.
Yeah.
And it's just, I really appreciated more the camaraderie this year, I think, than I've ever had.
There were reasons. I mean, I agree with you. I mean, I think there was a greater sense of cohesion and unity. But the writers had a greater grace of time preparing the show, and Jeff Hirschfield came back in, and it was good, I think, for Jeff personally to be away from the show for a while because, the work was fairly intense when we shoot, and there was a great demand to come up with scripts, and these guys were writing. They were doing marathon sessions. I mean, they're writing like 18, 20 hours a day some days, and, every day, just because they had deadlines and they had to get done. And scripts would be submitted, go back for rewrites, resubmit it, back again for more rewrites, then there'd be the read-through, then there'd be more rewrites, you know. So it was good to have Jeff back in. He was refreshed, and he brought a lot of, fresh input to the show. And also it was, you take a bit of a break, and it's always good to get back together again, and it takes a while. It's like growing up in a family. After a while, you don't appreciate your brothers and sisters until you get a bit older. You say they're pretty decent people, and that sort of thing. Not that we didn't initially. All the lies, the things you heard about the big fights on set, and the knives coming out, and the body bags leaving the studio every day. They're not true. There's no more than 2 a day, body bags. No more than 2 a day.
I think too. Kai has probably the best deadpan since Mr. Spock. I mean, he's just amazing.
Yeah.
He does it perfectly.
Yeah. The dead do not Spock. The dead don't do Spock.
I have a lot of.
Pardon me.
I have a lot of favorites on the show, but I think what struck me this year, one of my favorites was definitely the trip to Las Vegas. I thought that was hysterical.
Viva Lex Vegas. Yeah. Yeah. Actually, I haven't seen it. It's one of those things, and you spend anywhere from 12 to 18 hours a day shooting. I don't want to go back and look at it. I know what happens. Okay, the good guys get away, the bad guys die. Okay, fine. Something like that. Yeah. But although you might know sometimes what's, pardon me, you can pretty much guess or predict what the outcome of the sequence of events is going to be. It's the journey that gets you there. See, how are they going to get there? That's what's interesting. I think that's one of the things that the writers sort of captured more this year. And we had more fun with the scripts too. The scripts were a lot lighter in tone and in spirit. Although there was some definitely, serious consequences for some of our actions. But, the ideas, the concepts were just pushed a bit further. From the ridiculous to the sublime, and somewhere in between.
I did like Stanley's little moment with the 2 professional ladies. that was pretty funny.
Oh yes, I remember. Yeah, the girls coming into the room. Yeah, I don't remember what happened with those.
And using an ATF credit card, I thought it was pretty funny.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, the whole idea of the ATF being the most powerful organization on Earth, I think it's something that the ATF feels very strongly about. They like it. They really want. So really, can we do that?
And the scenes with the president in the episode were hysterical too. Not presenting him in a totally good light, but I think that's the nature of life, the poke fun.
Absolutely, to poke fun all the time, as much as you can, or to point out that there are ridiculous things in the world, and there are things that, need to be taken down a notch, shall we say, something like that.
And I also particularly enjoyed the episode where you took the hallucinogens recently.
Trip.
Yeah, the trip.
Yeah.
And you were all seeing things that weren't there.
Mm-hmm.
And Kai wasn't there, but that was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Michael really needs to shave his legs, I tell you. He's a very hairy man. Under that that sheet that was covering us in that scene where Zev walks in and she thinks she's seeing, we see that she's seeing Stan and Kai in bed having a raunchy good time. That's what do they call it? Medical damp, surgical damp, dental damp. It's that latex foam, not foam, it's thin latex. Stinks like hell, and it's covered in baby powder, so it doesn't stick to your face. Well, after say 20 minutes, there's no baby powder left, so it's like total body condom, It's just really sticky and damp. And Michael sweats a bit, I guess it's the wig. And of course the fur coat that naturally occurs on his body.
Well, those are some of my highlights for this year. So
Yeah.
what about your highlights?
Well, to be quite honest, I haven't seen all the episodes. There were some things that I thought the ideas were interesting. I like the idea of the kid on the wall in I think it was P4X and Stand Down. The guy Ryan Cooley was the young guy's name, the actor's name, and I forget his character name. What was it? What? Digby. That's right, Digby, which is the name of a small fishing town. Yeah. Well, actually, Nova Scotia too. Yeah. Those ideas, and the idea that you know, there's an eco-tourist group in Brazil just about to see a rare species of luminescent bird, a Paraguayan luminescent toucan or something like that, and the Lex comes in and just chomp, and they're gone. Well, that's pretty bad. That's bad news. They wind up in the belly of the Lex, and then there's a nuclear bomb in there which goes off. So, you know, it goes from like being serious situation to like total annihilation. I think that's those sorts of ideas are great. It's sort of really pushing the envelope a bit, but, you know, I think what makes things like that palatable, shall we say, for lack of a better word, is that, you know, it's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it happens. It's there recorded. It's on tape and it's broadcast. So you know that that came out of somebody's mind and went on a tape. But it's just, this is ridiculous, which makes it fun.
It's a lot of fun, and I just think there's something about life that's hard to categorize. It's its own thing, and it's hard to describe to somebody because you have to actually see it to get a feel of what's going on.
And I think that makes it interesting. Well, you could sum it up like, you know, in several different ways. I think, you know, three strange characters, and you could name, you know, a love slave, a dead assassin, and an arch heretic, you know, responsible for the annihilation of 92 reform planets. And they happen to steal the largest, the most powerful destructive force in the two universes. So what's hard about that? You know, you think, what the hell did you just say, boy?
What memories do you have the first time? I believe it started a series of films.
First, yeah, four movie of the weeks, yeah, hour and a half.
Like the first time you went on set, and everybody was there.
I had kind of an advantage in a way, in as much as a year and a, no, actually it was about 2 years previous to that. Yeah, a little less than 2 years, but anyway, we won't haggle about, you know, a month or two. Paul asked me to come to Halifax and do a demo. What he said he wanted to do, the original intention was to do a feature and then do a spin-off TV series based on the feature. And instead of that, he put together a demo reel and invited me to come. So I played Stanley Tweedle, and we had the scene that we shot was the scene of the in the first 4 MOWs, a prisoner transport arriving. What was that? Did God just come in the room? His divine shadow? The Kai? Kai, are you out there, Kai? Is that you? Close the door gently, Kai. Yeah. Elvis has left the Lex. The scene of the prisoner transport arriving, Stanley won't let it in. The guy says, punish him, demote him, well, force as low as you can go. Well, then cut off an arm or two. That scene, that was the first scene we shot. And a year and a half later, we wound up shooting it. So I had, you know, some ideas about what it would possibly entail in terms of just how bizarre, in a sense, the show would be. I had, you know, some prior knowledge of that. And of course, we had... We rehearsed for about 2 weeks before we ever started to shoot anything. Had lots of discussions with Paul about, you know, the nature of the episodes, the nature of the characters, and we'd do scenes and redo them, you know, sometimes in Paul's living room. Yeah.
That's a luxury to be able to do something.
Well, we knew it was going to be a long haul. We were going to be shooting for 6 months, at least 6 months for that first 4 MOWs, and it was worth the time to do that, and because in the end it did save a lot of time when we got to set. We knew pretty much how to play certain scenes. We had a good grasp of the characters.
And I was going to say that probably helped you, at least get the foundation for Stan.
That's right. Yeah.
I just spoke to Ellen Dubin recently.
Oh, did you? Gotta love her.
And actually, she said she had spoken to you like the day before, it was a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
She was kind of like, I kind of compared her to like what John Delancey was in Star Trek, The Next Generation. She would always come in, and she was like one of these guest stars you always look forward to seeing.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the track of her, the arc of her character, it's just been, it's hard to talk about hard to describe.
The whole idea about, it's sort of like the Dante's Inferno idea, like heaven and hell, and people you don't necessarily die. Or if you do die, but, you can wake up again. but you don't remember much about, you know, where it was you just were before, and you look exactly the same, but you're in a different situation. Like the Jiggerata character, and like the Schlemmy and Fifi, and what was the final character's name in Survivor? Pardon me? Farley. That's right, Farley. You know, essentially the same kind of character. You know, real slime ball.
She just told me she had a great time being on the show.
There's a quote. There's City TV, the Space Channel in Canada, did a making of, and there's a quote from Ellen. There's a bit of Ellen describing what it was like to shoot in this. She was in a vat of water. And was shooting one episode in Germany, and the water kept getting hot and cold. It had real fire underneath this huge vat that she was in. And she said, you know, what she said was, you know, most people will tell you that less is more. On this show, more is not enough. I thought, well, that's pretty good, Ellen. Mind if I use that?
That's
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
And she's been involved since the movies too. So she's been really.
She played, that's right, yeah, she's been there for the long haul. Albeit, you know, once or twice a year, but nevertheless.
I thought to Apocalypse Now was just to do Apocalypse Now was just to spoof that was just hysterical. That was a lot of fun to watch.
We had a lot of fun doing it too, and it was an interesting way to. It was the end of our shoot. It was the last thing that we actually shot, and we wrapped on my birthday actually in Thailand, on the River Kwai, which is a pretty, you know, exotic. It was interesting, and it was because, I mean, it has to do with. You remember that with the theme song for the movie was "This Is the End, My Friend," you know, the old Doors tune, and I thought, well, that's sort of what it is. This is kind of interesting, and yeah.
That's a really strange coincidence that you got to that point.
Yeah.
You know, from the Doors movie.
Yeah.
From the film.
Yeah, with the theme song. This is the end, my
Where's
friend.
Stanley again? He always seems to be in peril. He was tied up there and, you know, ready to be abused.
With a gas can over his head, yeah. It always takes the dead man or the cluster lizard to, you know, extricate him from, you know, any given situation, whether it's good or bad. Sometimes it doesn't. I don't want to go. I like these girls, you know. But you're coming with us now, Stan.
You always think that Stanley, thought of the other characters sometimes as definite party poopers where you can have a good time.
Damn right. You know, they would either like poop the party or get Stanley and themselves into trouble. You know, Zev with her instinct for exploring and all that, and Kai with his instinct for wanting more proto-blood, which of course you can't blame either character for that sort of stuff, but it often leads to disaster for Stanley.
Are you a fan of DVDs at all?
I own a DVD player.
Okay, because
But I never, when I bought it, I said I want something that just plays the DVD. I don't want to, like, you know, the extras, the outtakes or the interviews. I'm not interested. So I never watch those. If that's where you're going with that.
Well, what I'm going for is the fact that a lot of Lex episodes are available for people to enjoy on DVD.
Yeah.
Around the world.
Mm-hmm. It's neat that you don't have to, like, you know, do the dubbing from NTSC to PAL to send it off to, you know, your buddy in Germany or in England or whatever. Yeah.
I haven't heard any of those, but did you go back to do any commentaries or anything?
Yeah.
Oh, what was that like watching the episodes unfold?
It was pretty funny in a way. Lex Jigaroff and I sat down and we spent an entire day going through 4 episodes, and it was for a DVD release in England. That Kai, man, what the hell's he doing over that door? Go to bed.
Well, we'll just, you know,
Okay.
train of thought
Where was I?
about DVD.
Oh. I said, hello. Yeah. Well, we spent the entire day doing commentaries on 4 because it was a DVD release in England, and they just wanted commentaries. So they were releasing them in sets. It was season 2, I guess, in sets of 5 or 4, or sets of 5. You know, but like a bunch. So we did commentaries for 4 episodes. I guess it was, you know, groups of 5, and there was a commentary in each set for one show all the way through. And it was kind of fun because there were some things that, you know, I hadn't seen these episodes in ages. And I remember we did a commentary for Wake the Dead. And I remember one shot that Chris Bold, Chris Bold directed more episodes of Lex than any other director. And there's one shot, he set up a tracking shot that took us about an hour or an hour and a half to rehearse. But his economy was that we could spend all this time getting the tracking shot down just right, moving the camera across and over, went from one side of the bridge right over to the other side of the bridge, taking in elements along the way. To include all those elements, doing the things the traditional way, set the camera up, do your master shot, then do your over the shoulder one way, over the shoulder the other way. It involves changing the lights, and probably saved 2 hours. And besides, it's a more interesting shot because the camera's in continuous motion. Yeah, it's a really clever way to do it. And of course, you know, what the disadvantage is that when the editors see it, they see we can't cut. You can't cut away to anything. It's one shot. This is it. We got nothing to do here, you know.
Well, I know you have to go, but I definitely want to thank you for all that's done with Lex. It's a series that I think is going to be remembered quite some time.
As you said, it's not like anything else out there. One of the things we were very careful to avoid was imitating or paralleling anything else that had been done. We deliberately avoided the whole idea that the good guys win because the bad guys are such rotten shots. That happens way too often. I can tell you one, just finish up, there's one element of the Bible that I've mentioned a couple of times before, and there's a Bible, sort of the rules of the show, rules of the series, that kind of thing. One of them was, in the course of all our adventures, we shall never meet an entity that is more intelligent than a human being unless that entity agrees to write that episode. So, okay. This is Brian Downey. I play Stanley H. Tweedle on the Lex. The Lex is the most powerful destructive force in the two universes. I talk because it's one of the last good things on this stupid Type 13 planet. Ugh.
Well, here we are at Icon. This is Sunday at Icon. It's spring. You think it's summer the other day. We had a thunderstorm. Upstate, they had an earthquake. And anyway, we are at Icon. And I have here possibly a celebrity, possibly an artist, possibly a viewer, possibly somebody who came to have a good time at Icon. Hi, I am Zenbach, and you are?
I'm Stu Nadelson, and I am here to have a good time at Icon. I come here almost every year. There's something for everyone. Whatever you're into, it's somewhere in this room you will find it.
You notice there's a lot more dealers this year?
Oh yeah, a lot more. I know they moved the stage in, so they have more room to put dealers. So it just makes more sense that there's more here and more for everyone.
You know, we used to have the stage in this room, so I used to be able to hear what was going on.
Right.
You know what it sounded like to us over here?
Probably like announcements on the subway train.
Oh, yay! Oh. I don't know who was over there, but that's what it was. So what'd you do here? So what'd you see this today so far?
So far I just been moving around the dealer's room, getting a few things. I like Doctor Who and Green Lantern. I've been looking at stuff for that.
You do? You like Doctor Who?
Yeah.
I have a buddy who's created the Daleks and the
Termination.
He was the makeup guy, and he was in the first Sitting in Him.
Really?
Yeah, Steve Goslow. He played the Daleks, and Cyberman was his other character. Right. You look a little like him too, and he's tall, and he's English.
As well.
Obviously, he's English.
Yeah, that would make it easier to work. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've been to this show before, and you've seen the show. You more than 3 or 4 years?
Oh yeah, I've been. I went to school here in '82. So I've been coming here on and off for 20 years. It's just like the best convention. It always is.
Then I could tell you that since you know what the school used to be called? We have a couple of nicknames for this. First of all, they used to call the hospital Kronos.
Oh, okay.
Because it was an old 50s movie.
Right.
And there used to be a joke about this being Stony Brook.
Times were different then.
Yeah, times were different. I've seen concerts. I think I've seen a concert here at Jefferson Airplane.
I saw Jerry Garcia here once, yeah.
Yeah, I think I saw Jerry Garcia. I sat over on this side, in fact, and couldn't find a place to park the car in those days. They've improved it.
Oh, yeah.
Now I can't find a car.
Oh yeah, it's a huge lot now.
Huge. You know. So you come to some of the guests today?
Oh yeah, I mean I love Babylon 5, so you know I see Julie Caitlin Brown and Andreas Castells, and I was over getting autographs from Richard Biggs and Jason Carter before. You know, it's just you know people think of this as a Star Trek convention, but it's really a Babylon 5 convention this year.
Yep. Yeah, we got it exclusive with a press conference yesterday that we're going to be airing. So we'll tell you about that on the coming up if you catch the show.
Oh, okay.
You know, so we recorded the press conference. So a little insight on Babylon 5.
Yeah, I'd like to see that Rangers show get done.
Yeah, that would be good.
Any rumors on that?
No. Actually, I didn't do the conference. My son, Tybach, was actually doing the camera work on that.
Right.
Yeah, I put the kid to work. Kid's been doing this for the viewers out there since he's 7 years old. So now he's got to be old. He's 13. Yeah, so it's not bad for a kid to get to meet celebrities.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a choice of that or doing gaming.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a gamers thing here, too.
Right. Oh, yeah. That's not my thing, but I know a lot of people are very into it.
It's not mine. My house is turning into Warhammer 40K. You know.
Well, that's the thing. I have a collectible room at home there with all my comic book stuff and Doctor Who stuff and Star Trek stuff. It's almost full.
You ever see a comic book convention?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's one in the city, Big Apple I've done.
Right.
Mike Carabola, I believe his name is. He runs this Comic-Con in the Big Apple in a church. You know,
yeah, I've never been to that one.
Yeah, it's an interesting convention. Okay, I'm going to have to travel to the other side of campus. You want to ride?
Sounds good. How we going?
We're going to beam.
Beam.
The beam.
All right.
All right, the beamer comes from there, okay? So just look up. Here it comes. Tybach, beam us out.
Peter Brook, who directed me in the theater for 15, 20 years, his one really good piece of advice to actors in the theater is never rehearse badly. If you're rehearse like it's a performance. Rehearse like it's the last time. Don't waste that time that you're rehearsing. So I sort of grew up that way, and I brought that to B5. If we were rehearsing, I did all-out rehearsals. I don't know how to not do it completely. So when you're doing scenes like that, torture, and Joe would write things, a scream from the depth of his soul. Well, I take all that seriously. What is the depth of my soul? I'm trying to do that for him, you know. So it was pretty draining, those times especially, you know.
And he opened the doors to this room, and it was just rail after rail of Rohan warriors' uniforms. And I just thought, oh my God, it's like one of those sci-fi shots in a spaceship where, you know, there's clones of people and you don't see the end. I just thought, oh my God, there's going to be people in every one of these things. And you could go up to any one, and it was hand-stitched and made with love. It wasn't, you know, stamped out in a machine. And that was the day that I thought, this is something kind of incredible. Yeah.
Hey guys, this is R.L. Demery. This is Smith and Barber. What's up, dudes? Come on in. There's a good party going on. He's got some nice tauntaums, huh?
Nice to meet you all. Welcome to Long Island. We just walked out of Danforth. The timing couldn't be more perfect. I don't know where, Connecticut, welcome! Welcome to Long Island! Give us your ice. Wait a minute! Where's your ice? No, where's... Okay, good. Welcome to Long Island, Smith and Barber. Welcome, we're going out to Darren's Ball to have a good time. Just came across a Long Island Sound now. Now we're gonna have a party time. Hey, all right. Yeah. Let's go.
Give us your iced tea.
Not this ice tea.
We've come for your iced tea.
Oh, that's right.